Nate Diaz vs Tony Ferguson is going to be wild. After a crazy turn of events in the last couple days, we finally got the fight that we should have gotten all along in Tony Ferguson vs Nate Diaz. But quickly before we get the video started, for those of you who may not know, I'm Juicy MMA, I make opinionative MMA content, and if you guys enjoy videos similar to this, hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that post notification bell. But anyways, let's get into it. What a crazy last 48 hours it has been. We started it off with yesterday a crazy press conference, or lack thereof, where in the back there was reports coming out that Khamzat Chimaev and Kevin Holland were getting into it, and then Nate Diaz and his team ended up getting involved as well, and there was an excess of 100 people total backstage fighting, which is just crazy to even think about. And after that, obviously Dana just decided to cancel the press conference altogether, which is something that we've never seen ever in UFC history, a press conference getting canceled, which is kind of crazy to think about. But then once we thought it was all over and we were getting ready for Nate Diaz vs Khamzat Chimaev, there were some rumors that Khamzat was struggling with his weight, and then when he officially weighed in, he was 7.5 pounds over, which is absolutely bizarre. Typically when fighters miss weight, they only miss it by half a pound, maybe 2 pounds. Missing by 2 pounds is considered a lot, and obviously it's rare to even miss weight in general, so the fact that Khamzat missed weight by 7.5 pounds is kind of crazy to think about. It's almost as if he didn't even try to cut weight. Now Dana did say that Khamzat was dealing with a medical issue and he wasn't able to cut weight after a certain point, but in my opinion, I thought Khamzat looked fine during the weigh-ins. He didn't look drained at all. He didn't look like he was in any pain or anything. He looked fine. I definitely think he could have cut more weight. It was just a weird situation altogether, but in my opinion, I think the 3 new fights that were made were all much better than the previous ones. Obviously, we're going to talk about Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson in this video. That's obviously a much better fight in my opinion than Nate versus Khamzat, but even Kevin Holland versus Khamzat is a much better fight as well for both of those guys, as it's definitely a more competitive matchup, but also at the same time, these guys actually have some beef, so it's going to be a very interesting fight to watch. And overall, as I said, I do think this is a much better card now than it was previous to all these changes. But now, let's break down this matchup between Nate Diaz and Tony Ferguson. So let's first start with Nate Diaz and see what he does well out there. So on the feet, Nate has a very boxer-centric approach, where he is very heavy on that front leg, which does sometimes leave him susceptible to heavy calf kicks, which is something we saw extensively in the second Conor McGregor fight. But in terms of a stand-up, Nate definitely has very good boxing. He has a nice jab, he has a nice right straight, he has a nice uppercut, he has a nice cross, he has a nice hook, he has the ability to switch stances at times. He does have an ability to throw kicks, although he doesn't necessarily utilize that all that often. He does a really nice job at dirty boxing out there, just fighting in close, throwing nice uppercuts, nice hooks, and overall on the feet, Nate isn't one of those guys that are very pretty to watch. He's just one of those fighters that's just a brawler. If it looks pretty, he's probably not doing all that well, but if he makes the fight dirty, gets in close, fights in the phone booth, and overall just makes it a dirty fight, that's really where Nate Diaz shines on the feet. Now in terms of his ground game, Nate doesn't necessarily have the best offensive wrestling, and he really never utilizes the takedown, but if the fight does get to the ground, Nate definitely has really good jiu-jitsu. He has a nice ability to find the position and find the submission on the ground. Now obviously in terms of his cardio, Nate has one of the best cardios in the UFC, honestly probably the best cardio. If there was a 10-round fight, Nate would never lose. Now in terms of his chin is also phenomenal. He never truly gets knocked out. The only time that he loses via stoppage would be a TKO that the doctor just calls off, or there was one time earlier on in his career where he did have a legitimate TKO loss. But overall, Nate Diaz is just so tough out there, it seems like he never truly goes away no matter how hurt he is. But now let's move on to Tony Ferguson and see what he does well out there. So obviously on the feet, Tony is very good. He's pretty unorthodox on the feet, but he does have a nice jab, he has a really nice uppercut, a nice hook. He utilizes his range pretty effectively. We especially saw that in the Michael Chandler fight, where he did actually get a knockdown early on in that fight. He has a pretty nice ability to throw kicks. He has fantastic elbows. He's known for those elbows. He definitely has an ability to throw knees and even close as well, and overall on the feet, Tony is just very, very good. Now, similar to Nate, I don't expect Tony to offensively wrestle in this matchup, but if the fight does go to the ground, also similar to Nate Diaz, Tony also has really good jiu-jitsu. He has a really nice ability to fight off his back, especially utilizing those elbows, and overall on the ground, I would say that Tony is very, very good. Now, in terms of his cardio, Tony does have phenomenal cardio. Although he was training for a 3-round fight, and last second now he's going to be in a 5-round fight, I still don't necessarily think that's going to affect him all that much. Tony was always known for his cardio, and I don't think it's going to change now. Now, in terms of his chin, Tony also has a fantastic chin. Now, the one thing that I am concerned of is he did just get brutally knocked out by Michael Chandler in his last fight, and a lot of times when you get knocked out that badly especially, you don't necessarily know how good your chin is going to be in the future, so that's definitely somewhat of a concern. It's also somewhat of a concern how quickly he's actually coming back to fight after that brutal knockout. In my opinion, I think he probably should have waited a little bit longer, but based on the history, Tony obviously has a phenomenal chin. But now, let's break this fight down. So in my opinion, I do think this is a very, very close fight, and a very highly anticipated one as well. This is definitely something that we should have saw earlier, or at the very least, this should have been the fight that was made originally for this card. Now, on the feet, I think I would give the edge to Tony Ferguson. Although Nate Diaz is definitely the more technical striker, I just think the fact that Tony is very crafty on the feet, alongside with the fact that he definitely has more power than Nate Diaz, would just give him an advantage on the feet overall. He would definitely have an ability to hurt Nate Diaz. Now, would he put him away? I'm not necessarily saying that. Nobody really puts away Nate Diaz, but I definitely think he can hurt him with his punches. But also, if Tony's able to throw a lot of leg kicks at Nate and really compromise Nate's legs, he would also obviously have a ton of success with that. As the later on the fight goes and the more compromised Nate's leg gets, obviously he's going to be less mobile out there, but also Nate is probably going to focus more so on his legs than his head. And later on into the fight, if Tony fakes a leg kick and then goes up high with an uppercut or hook or some straight punch, he definitely could hurt Nate pretty badly, and we'll see what happens from there. But I definitely think leg kicks should be a huge part of Tony's game plan in this matchup. Now, for Nate, I definitely think he has chances as well. On the feet, he definitely can catch Tony, as Tony is very hittable, and after getting brutally knocked out, who knows how good Tony's chin is at this point. Maybe his chin is completely gone. I'm not necessarily saying that's true. I don't think so, but I guess it is a possibility. And if that is true, Nate could actually have a lot of success on the feet. But overall, my official prediction for this matchup would be Tony Ferguson by decision. Now, I also could see Tony winning in the 3rd or 4th round by a doctor's stoppage. I don't think Nate is going to get knocked out, but the only way it would be a TKO if it was a really bad cut or something like that and they just stopped it. But obviously, as I mentioned, there's also a couple different avenues for Nate Diaz to win this fight as well. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Nate Diaz is going to win this matchup, or do you think Tony Ferguson will? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy it, check one of these 2 videos popping up now. And until the next time, peace out, guys.